Captain Gino Park studied the three unfamiliar ships drifting on his display. They looked fractured and worn, as if someone had scavenged scraps from wrecks and patched them together. His vessel, the Earth's Promise, had been traveling through deep space for 2 months when they stumbled upon these craft lurking behind a dead moon. "They're not advancing toward us," Navigator Mina Lee reported, double-checking her readouts. "But they aren't fleeing either." Gino had witnessed many alien vessels during Earth's early ventures among the stars. Most belonged to the Galactic Confederation. Those ships were sleek, polished, uniform. These ones were different. They looked weary, almost sorrowful. "Open a channel," Gino instructed. The main screen flickered, revealing a face that made several crew members gasp aloud. The alien's skin was pale blue, its dark eyes vast and piercing, as though staring straight into their very souls. When it spoke, its voice trembled. "Please, do not harm us," the alien pleaded. "We are Cathari. We know humans are new to the stars, but we've heard you follow Confederation law. We will depart your territory at once." Gino frowned. "Wait, who mentioned leaving?" "I'm Captain Gino Park of Earth. What's your name?" The alien's eyes widened further. You wish to know my name? Of course, that's how people meet, isn't it?" The alien hesitated, then spoke softly. "I am Captain Morin of the Lost Voice. But Captain Park, you should understand what we are. The Confederation has branded us outcasts. We are empaths. We sense the emotions of others. They call us corrupted, unstable, dangerous. Behind Morin, Gino glimpsed others moving in shadow, thin, frail shapes, faces marked by hunger and exhaustion. "That's remarkable," Gino said. "You can actually feel what others feel. That must be hard, but also incredible." Moran blinked several times. You think it is incredible?" "Of course. Humans spend lifetimes struggling to understand one another's feelings. You already know. That sounds like a gift." A second transmission cut in, static, hissing. The screen shifted to reveal a crystalline figure glowing with inner light. "Captain Park, I am Veltar of the Zephyrians. We are Silicon life. The Confederation claims we cannot coexist with carbon species. They call us contaminants." "Communications." Officer Una Park leaned forward eagerly. "You're crystalline. How does that function? Do you think differently from us?" Colors rippled across Veltar's body. "You are curious, not revolted." "Why would we be revolted?" Una asked. "You're beautiful. I'd wager you understand technology in ways we never could." At last, the third ship spoke, a voice deep and soothing like wind rustling through leaves. "I am Grena of the Morin. We are what humans might call plant-born. We do not wage war. We do not compete. The Confederation brands us evolutionary failures for choosing peace over conflict." Engineer Tejo Shin rose from his station. "That's not failure. That's evolution beyond violence. That's success. That's what we hope humanity will achieve." The three alien captains fell silent. On their vessels, more beings appeared, gathering near their displays. Some resembled Morin, others were wholly different in form and color. "I do not understand," Morin whispered at last. "Every race we've met calls us broken, wrong. The Confederation hunts us. Others shun us. Yet you speak of gifts, success, beauty." Gino stood, his voice steady. "Maybe the flaw isn't with you. Maybe it's with everyone else. We're new to the stars, but on Earth we've learned that diversity makes us stronger. Different minds see solutions others miss. But the Confederation insists the Confederation isn't here," Mina Lee cut in. "We are, and we'd like to learn about you, if you're willing to learn about us." Gino looked around his bridge. His crew nodded silently. How long since you've had proper food or safe shelter? Moran's reply was nearly inaudible. Many months, Captain Park. Then we have food, medicine supplies, whatever you're missing. And we have questions if you're willing to answer them. The three ships edged nearer to the Earth's promise. For the first time in months, their engines stirred with something close to hope. 2 hours later, Gino sat inside his conference room with the alien captains. They ate human rations while trading stories of their worlds. Grina demonstrated how Moran flora could root in any soil. Veltar described Zephyrian crystal science. Moran guided them in understanding the emotions of alien minds. This cannot be real, Moran said softly, though his face was close to smiling. No one welcomes outcasts. Then you're not outcasts anymore, Gino answered firmly. You're our friends. Outside, more refugee craft emerged from behind asteroids and moons. Word spread quickly through their hidden network. Earth was different. Earth was sanctuary. Earth called them friends. 3 months after that first meeting, the settlement on Haven 7 became something the galaxy had never known. Diplomat Hannah Kim walked the colony's square, witnessing what made Confederation envoys uneasy. Human children played with young Cathari in the Fountain Plaza. Human laughter rang out as water splashed, and the blue-skinned Cathari with their wide eyes felt every spark of joy and reflected it back to their companions. Soon all the children were laughing together, trading emotions as if they were trading toys. Look, Mama, cried 6-year-old Jisoo to her mother. When Kellen feels happy, I feel happy too. It's like having two happinesses at once. The young Cathari named Kellen nodded gravely. And when humans laugh, it makes bright colors in my thoughts. I never knew feelings could be so loud and so fun. Hannah smiled, though she noticed Cathari parents watching nervously from nearby benches. They still struggled to believe any of this was real. They will grow weary of us, Moran whispered to another Cathari parent. All species do. They decide we are too strange, too different. Hannah sat beside them. Moran, your daughter has been teaching our children about emotional colors for weeks. Our child psychologist, Dr. Sora Choi, says it helps human kids understand their feelings better. Why would we tire of something so valuable? Moran looked uncertain. But we are defective. The Confederation has told the galaxy this for countless years. The Confederation is mistaken, Hannah replied simply. Across the square, engineer Taejo Shin worked with 3 Zephyrians on a new construction design. The crystal beings grew structures rather than building them. Taejo stared in awe as they sang to raw silicon, shaping it into flowing walls that looked like frozen music. This defies our physics, Taejo admitted, jotting notes. Veltar's crystal body shimmered with shifting hues. Your physics are not false. They are only incomplete. Silicon can be alive just as carbon can. We follow different principles. Can you teach us? Taejo asked. Veltar froze, a Zephyrian sign of surprise. You wish to learn our ways? The Confederation insists our techniques cannot align with proper technology. The Confederation says many things, countered human engineer Suknam. But look at this structure. It is strong and beautiful. It consumes no artificial energy because it lives. That isn't incompatibility. That's genius. The Zephyrians pulsed with golden radiance. Taejo had learned this signaled happiness mixed with disbelief. In the colony's medical center, Dr. Sora Choi worked with Grina and 2 other Morun healers. The plant-born beings used no machines to mend illness. Instead, they cultivated unique plants, each grown to heal a different disease. This moss you created this moss, did you? Dr. Sora asked, peering through her microscope. It devours infection bacteria, yet leaves healthy cells untouched. How can you make plants so precise? Greena's tree-like body swayed gently. We do not program, we ask. All life wishes to help other life if you learn to speak properly. Do you not ask your human friends for help when you need it? Dr. Sora laughed softly. I never thought of it like that. She glanced again at the microscope. Greena, would you teach me to listen to plants? With this, our medicine could aid countless more people. Greena's leaves rustled with delight. You truly wish to learn? The Confederation claims our peaceful ways make us weak, worthless. They're the ones losing out, Dr. Sora replied firmly. Peace takes more strength than war, and this healing could save millions. That evening, the colony gathered for its weekly meeting. Humans and aliens filled the council hall. Captain Gino Park, now the settlement's director, stood to speak. I received a message from the Confederation today, he announced. Murmurs rippled. Aliens shifted nervously in their seats. They demand we stop sheltering outcast species. They say we're making a grave mistake. Fear spread. The Cathari shivered. Zephyrians dimmed their glow, and Morun leaves darkened with unease. But here's what I told them, Gino continued. I told them about Kellen teaching our children emotions. I told them about Zephyrians shaping buildings that think. I told them about Moron medicine, curing diseases we could never treat. He scanned the hall, human, blue-skinned, crystalline, plant-born faces alike. I told them that in just 3 months, you became more than neighbors. You became friends. You've made us wiser, kinder, stronger. And friends don't abandon friends just because someone else says they're unworthy. Silence held the A chamber. Then a small voice broke it. A human child, Miho, stood. Kellen is my best friend, he declared. She helps me when I'm scared, and I help her when she's sad. That's what friends do. One by one, other humans rose. Then slowly, the alien settlers rose too. The Confederation branded us outcasts so long, Morin whispered. We forgot how it felt to belong. You belong here, said Hannah Kim, as long as you wish to stay. Beyond the colony, Confederation warships lingered at a distance, their commanders baffled by what they observed. This was never meant to happen. Yet on Haven 7, the impossible had become routine. The warning arrived at 0347 Galactic Standard Time. Stars in the Kepler sector were destabilizing. Not one star, 17, in a chain reaction destined to erase 2 entire systems. Admiral Hyan Kong stood on the bridge of New Horizon, watching the disaster unfolding across his displays. Solar. Flares leapt from star to star like wildfire racing through dry fields. Each eruption pushed the next sun closer to collapse. Soon, lethal radiation would scour every planet in the region. How many souls live in those systems? Asked his aide, Commander Rena Song. 2.7 million, Hyan answered grimly. The Confederation has ships there, but their evacuation will rescue perhaps half. On the central screen, Confederation Admiral Zakhtar detailed their plan to the Galactic Emergency Council. His tone was cold, exact. We will evacuate Class A worlds first, then Class B. Class C's and outcast colonies will be handled if time permits. Standard procedure demands we preserve the most valuable. Hyan felt ill. Class C meant settlements of mixed peoples, humans, aliens, outcasts together. To the Confederation, such lives counted for less. Sir, reported Communications Officer Unipark, distress calls from Haven 7 and allied colonies. They want to aid the rescue. Do it, Hyan ordered. Signal every allied ship, every human vessel, every outcast craft that can fly. 30 minutes later, the strangest fleet in galactic history gathered at the edge of disaster. Human frigates sailed beside Cathari ships, Zephyrian crystal vessels, and the living pods of the Morun. Other outcasts arrived too, the water-breathing hydrons in their bubble craft, the machine-bonded Cynthians with their robotic crews. "This is madness," muttered Confederation Captain Drexon, watching the jumble on sensors. "They have no discipline, no unified protocols. This will collapse into chaos." But chaos never came. Captain Morin closed her eyes, extending her mind. Across the fleet, Cathari empaths did the same. Soon 50 ships were joined in a single empathic net, stronger than any radio. Every commander could sense the intentions of the others. Each crew knew instinctively what their allies required. "Fleet coordination established," Morin reported to Admiral Hyan. Her voice steady, her determination flowing into him through the partial link. "We are ready." The Zephyrian vessels advanced first. Guided by Commander Suknam aboard the human ship Crystal Song, they neared the unstable stars. Their crystalline hulls shifted, forming vast structures designed to capture and redirect stellar fury. "Veltar, can your ships really endure such energy?" Suk asked across comms. "Our bodies are living crystal," Veltar replied, his vessel glowing as it drew in the flares. "Heat and light are nourishment to us. The more these stars unleash, the stronger we grow." The Zephyrian ships spread themselves between the collapsing stars and the inhabited planets saw shields forming, vast walls of living crystal. Deadly solar radiation that should have slaughtered millions was absorbed and stored within crystalline bodies instead, but the true marvel unfolded with the Morun fleets. Captain Cho Shin stared in disbelief as the plant-like vessels drifted toward worlds already seared by radiation. "Grendo, what are your ships doing?" he demanded. "We are healing," Grenda answered calmly. The Morun vessels released immense clouds of spores into poisoned skies. "Our seeds devour radiation and turn it into oxygen. As they spread, the air will cleanse itself." On his screens, Joe watched blackened, burning worlds slowly bloom green again as Morun biostructures worked faster than any technology. At the same time, Hydron craft were performing feats the Confederation had deemed impossible. Their shimmering bubble vessels plunged straight into violent stellar flares, using liquid core systems to cool stars from within. "The hydrogen in the fire listens to our water songs," explained Captain Blue Rhine. "We can soothe the fury by singing." Meanwhile, the Cynthian ships operated with flawless mechanical exactness, their machine crews charting evacuation pathways at speeds no organic thought could match. Through it all, humanity bound the efforts together. Captain Nari Yong reshaped battle tactics into rescue strategies. Engineer Gin Woo Lee rewired systems in real time to mesh with alien tech. Dr. Sua Kim organized hospitals capable of treating every species known. "Evacuation complete on Kepler 7, came the report. "All 340,000 residents aboard transports." "Kepler 12 cleansed," another voice followed. "Morun filters absorbed all radiation." "Stars stabilizing," confirmed a Hydron officer. "The cascade has ended." 6 hours after it began, the crisis was over. Every planet saved, every life protected. The impossible had become real. On his flagship, Admiral Zakhtar of the Confederation read his reports in shock. "How did they save everyone? The models said it could not be done." "Sir, they used methods outside our archives. Empathic unity, crystal barriers, living radiation filters. None of these are in Confederation doctrine." The story spread like wildfire. Across the galaxy, people saw that the mixed fleet had succeeded where the Confederation had failed. They rescued everyone, not merely the valuable worlds. Citizens on countless planets watched the broadcasts and whispered the same question. If humans and outcasts could do this together, what else might they achieve? The answer was already reshaping everything. Within 3 days of the Kepler miracle, alien ships began converging on Earth, not to offer congratulations, but to seek sanctuary. Dozens of races once branded defective, inferior, or dangerous. President Jin-Woo Lee stood on the station's observation deck, gazing out at the strangest gathering of vessels ever assembled, aquatic hydrons in their water globes, machine-bonded Cynthians with their metallic kin, nomadic wanderers in ships that looked grown, not built. "Mr. President," an aide reported, 17 different species are requesting asylum. "They all say the same thing," reported Minister Kaiwan Park. "The Confederation marked them as unworthy, but they heard Earth accepts every one." Jin-Woo rubbed his tired eyes. 3 months ago, Earth had been alone in space. Now, they were becoming the refuge of half the galaxy's unwanted. "What do our allies think?" he asked. Captain Morin of the Cathari appeared on the comm screen. Her blue skin looked paler than usual, her large eyes full of worry. "President Lee, we feel their desperation. These species have been running and hiding for years, as we once did, but accepting them will make the Confederation very angry." "How angry?" Jin-Woo asked. The answer came 2 hours later. Supreme Chancellor Vexthorn of the Galactic Confederation appeared on every screen in the solar system. His many eyes burned with fury, his voice the voice of a ruler unaccustomed to defiance. "Humans of Earth," Vexthorn declared, "you have violated galactic law by harboring genetic defectives and social outcasts. You have 72 hours to return all contaminated species to Confederation custody for proper disposal." Jin-Woo felt his blood turn cold. Disposal. "Furthermore," Vexthorn continued, "you will cease all contact with inferior species immediately. Failure to comply will result in corrective action to protect galactic purity." The transmission ended. Silence choked the command center. "Sir," whispered Defense Minister Rena Song, her face pale. "By disposal, do they mean—" "Execution," Jin-Woo finished. "They want us to hand over our friends to be killed." Across the solar system, the reaction was instant. On Haven 7, human children clutched their Cathari playmates tighter. In the shipyards, Zephyrian workers stopped growing crystal domes and began shaping weapons instead. Moran healers put aside their medicinal plants and grew living barriers of bark and stone. Admiral Hyan Kong called an emergency war council. The chamber was crowded with beings of every shape and size. Some breathed air, some water, and a few did not breathe at all. "They want us to abandon our friends," Hyan said flatly. "What do we do?" The room erupted in a storm of voices across dozens of languages. But slowly a single answer rose above the chaos. "We fight," said Captain Nari of the human fleet. "We stand together," declared Veltar of the Zephyrians, his crystalline body glowing with determination. "We protect each other," whispered Grena of the Morun, her tree-like form swaying with resolve. One by one, every species agreed. They would not surrender their friends to die. The Confederation's response was swift and merciless. 500 warships advanced on the Sol system, their hulls identical, their weapons standardized, their crews trained to obey without hesitation. It was the largest armada humanity had ever faced. The Confederation fleet, the largest armada the galaxy had seen in centuries, advanced through the void. Yet on their homeworlds, something began to fracture. Citizens watched the news feeds. Human children laughing with alien friends, Cathari teaching humans to feel colors in their emotions, Zephyrian crystal cities blooming more beautifully than anything the Confederation had ever built. On Gex Prime, factory workers laid down their tools. "We will not build weapons to kill children," their leader declared. On Vex Station, merchants refused to supply the fleet. Those outcasts saved Kepler Sector. They are heroes, not criminals. Even within the military, doubts spread. Commander Drexhan, who had witnessed the mixed fleet rescue, confided to his crew, They saved 2.5 million lives in 6 hours. Our protocols would have saved less than half. Are we sure they are the enemy? Back on Earth, President Gin Wu made the hardest choice of his life. Addressing the Galactic Assembly, his words reached every world. We will not abandon our friends. We will not hand over innocents to be killed because they are different. If the Confederation wishes to destroy beings whose only crime is being themselves, they will have to come through us first. He straightened, gaze unflinching. And we will not stand alone. The screen behind him revealed the most diverse fleet in galactic history. Hundreds of ships from dozens of species sailing together toward the edge of Sol. The Confederation Armada was larger, more powerful, but for the first time in centuries, they faced not uniformity but unpredictable unity, an alliance forged from difference itself. The galaxy held its breath as rigid order prepared to meet chaotic strength. The Battle of Sol began at dawn, though in space, dawn meant nothing. From the command center, General Kaiwan Park watched as 500 identical Confederation warships advanced in flawless formation, each a cog in a perfect machine. Opposite them drifted the strangest fleet ever assembled, human warships beside, radiant Zephyrian crystals, Cathari vessels shaped by emotion, Hydron living pods pulsing like oceans, Cynthian machine forms gleaming cold and precise. 200 ships, no two alike. They're moving in attack pattern 7, reported Admiral Hyong Kong aboard his flagship. Tight formation, coordinated fire, standard doctrine. Captain Nari Yong, commanding the scouts, allowed herself a grim smile. Then we'll give them something that's not in their book. The Confederation struck first, hundreds of beams slicing space in perfect, lethal geometry. Any ordinary fleet would have been erased in minutes, but this was no ordinary fleet. The Cathari ships required no radio chatter. Captain Moraine and 50 empathic commanders linked in thought, sharing awareness instantly. They felt the battle before it even unfolded. The enemy seemed to know their moves before they even acted, dodging fire that hadn't been launched yet. Impossible, growled Confederation Admiral Zakhtar as his precision strikes hit nothing. They're reacting before we shoot. Stranger still, the Zephyrian fleet, commanded by Suknam, began phasing in and out of normal space. Their crystal cores turned transparent, letting blasts pass harmlessly through them. Then they reappeared behind Confederation lines, striking from impossible angles. Sir, this defies reality, an officer stammered. They're turning into ghosts. There are no ghosts, Zakhtar barked back. Yet his screen showed phantom ships flickering like spirits. Moran vessels drifted through combat with eerie calm. Direct hits didn't shatter them. They regenerated instantly, sprouting new plating where old was destroyed. They won't die, whispered a shaken gunner. We hit them over and over, but they keep growing back. Hydron craft flowed like liquid, bending around barrages and reforming anew. Cynthian ships solved targeting faster than any living brain. Meanwhile, human crews rewrote their tactics every few minutes, doing the very things Confederation computers labeled impossible. But the greater war wasn't fought in space. It played out across the galaxy's screens. Captain Nari Yong had broadcast live feeds to every Confederation world. Her words were clear, undeniable. People of the galaxy see the truth. The Confederation claims we are fighting dangerous rogues and primitives. But witness what we truly defend. Images showed human children hand in hand with young Cathari. Zephyrian crystal gardens beside human homes. Moran healers saving lives alongside human doctors of every species. This, Nari said, is what they seek to erase. Not weapons, but friendships. Not armies, but families. They call it corruption. We call it community. Across 1,000 planets, citizens saw what they'd never been shown. Different races united not by command, but by choice. Not coerced, but bonded as friends. The Confederation declares strength lies in purity, Nari's voice rang out. But, look at us. Together, we are stronger than any one species alone. Cathari bonds let us fight as one mind. Zephyrian crystal drives let us move like light. Morun biology lets us heal faster than war can break us, and human adaptability weaves it all together. The shift was instant. On Confederation worlds, workers refused to forge weapons, crews deserted ships, even seasoned admirals defected. Chancellor, a pale aide gasped, "Our fleet is abandoning us, joining the human alliance." Vexthorn watched his empire fracturing before his eyes. Unthinkable. We've ruled for a millennium. Perhaps, Admiral Drexen murmured, rule isn't the same as justice. The battle spanned 3 days, but the war was lost in its first hour. Not by cannons, but by ideals. Accustomed to foes who all thought alike, the Confederation collapsed before the chaos of unity. When silence fell, they had lost more than ships. They had lost their dominion. World after world declared independence, pledging themselves to the new alliance. 5 years later, Ambassador Sua Kim stood in the hall once called Confederation Assembly. Now it was the United Galactic Alliance Council, filled with countless species. Where once identical delegates spoke in cold unison, now diverse voices clashed, debated, and laughed as equals. Today, Sua announced, we decide on the Kepler Terraforming Project, a shared endeavor of human architects, Morun bioshapers, Zephyrian growers, and Cathari coordinators. The vote was unanimous, but not silent. Noisy, spirited, joyful, with dozens of tongues speaking one truth. Yes. Outside the grand chamber, the stars seemed changed, no longer cold but welcoming. Somewhere, children of 100 races played together, growing in a galaxy where difference was no curse. Galaxy where friendship outshone fear, where diversity defeated purity, and where true power was simply standing together.